Hi, I'm Akara, and I was the only Asian in my whole school. It all started when my mom and I migrated to the United States, specifically New York. It was so sudden. I was only 13 years old then, and I was in the middle of enjoying my summer vacation. I can still vividly remember it. I was at my bed listening to one of my favorite songs from the radio when my mom suddenly entered the room and casually told me to dress up since we're going to the United States. I was confused, but I did what I was told. My brother and father came along with us to the airport. My parents told me it's just gonna be a vacation, but my bigger brother whispered to me that it was impossible, that our family didn't have the kind of money to take a vacation on the US leisurely, and it's likely that my mom is gonna work there, and I'm gonna be staying with her for years. He told me not to go, since the only reason I had said yes is that I thought it was a vacation. Thinking about it now, I probably couldn't have done anything even if I had refused. So we arrived in New York, stayed at our auntie's house, and got ourselves settled in. Mom went and found work, and as for me, I was sent to school in Brooklyn, a school where I was the only Asian, and all of my classmates were African American. As you can imagine, I was stressed about going to the new school. Everything had suddenly changed. I was in a totally different country with a different culture. I knew some English, but I wasn't that good at it. In the school life, man, I didn't even know how I could adjust. I have seen a lot of shows where kids were getting bullied at schools for being different. On my first day of school, I was introduced by the teacher and was given a seat. People were staring at me. I was literally the only guy that was of a different race in that whole school. They were all African Americans, and there I was, this Asian guy sticking out like a sore thumb. Even all the teachers were African American. When our school break came, all the kids rushed to me excitedly. They asked all sorts of stuff about me and where I came from and what did my country look like. I answered all of them with my broken and heavily accented English. They told me that in no time I would be talking like them, fluently and in slangs. They welcomed me warmly and were kind, and even the other sections were talking about this Asian kid that came to their school. As weeks passed, they started calling me Chinaman, even though I wasn't Chinese. To be honest, it didn't really bug me since I was always joking with them. There was this one girl, Danielle, who had been helping me with getting settled in school. She was our class president. She was pretty, short hair with cute smile and gorgeous eyes. And to top it all off, she was kind, like super kind. She was always helpful with everyone. A lot of the guys liked her, even some of the seniors had a crush on her. We started getting close from all the time we had spent together. Then, one day, through one of her friends, she asked me if I wanted to go out together with her. And me, being the dumb self I was back then, took it literally. In my defense, though, I was still learning English. I thought she meant to literally go out on a date, which was not the case. It just meant that Danielle and I would start being like a couple, but not totally. Just like testing the waters first. That was what I meant back then. She was basically asking me to be her boyfriend. But I didn't know all that back then, so I said no. You see, my US papers back then weren't fixed yet. It was only through a favor that I got to go to school while my papers were still in process. I was borderline an illegal immigrant, and I was advised to be careful when going out. That was the reason I said no. I didn't know that going out just meant that we started acting like a couple at school. Needless to say, I was so stupid back then. Well, I said no, and Danielle started crying. Everyone was asking why I said no. But of course, I couldn't say that I was like an illegal immigrant back then, since my papers were still on process. In the end, Danielle stopped speaking to me totally. That's when some of the other guys from the other section started picking on me. Good thing, my classmates were always there to stop it. One time I was alone, and two guys from this other section came up onto me. They tried to intimidate me, and the other guy pushed me. I pushed back and gave a good backhand slap on the other guy's chest. They got surprised that I was fighting back. I guess they really didn't see that coming. They just wanted to intimidate me. They didn't know what to do, so they just went back as they cursed at me. To be honest, I wasn't the type of guy who would back down on fights. Don't get me wrong though, I'm scared of bullying and teasing and being picked on. Mean kids, and especially mean girls, scare me the most. But I had no problems when it came to an actual fist fight. I kinda got used to our ghetto neighborhood back in my country. I also became friends with a lot of other guys since we always played basketball. My basketball skills were pretty decent since we had a basketball court near our house back in my country, and I'd always hang out there. At first, I would only play with my classmates at the school court, but then, together with my classmates, we'd start playing basketball at the park after school hours. Most of the guys at the park didn't know me, so they found it surprising that a little Asian kid was finger-rolling hoops right in their faces. But then we also started to get into trouble a lot with the other kids. I could tell that these guys were real deal and not unlike the chumps from our school. We had a lot of fights at the park, and things just got uglier and uglier as some of the kids started beating up guys from our school just from having the same uniform as ours. Well, we kinda did the same. I know it was quite stupid, but we were young and didn't really think much of our actions back then. I didn't even really care about me getting deported back to my country if I got in trouble. I was kind of rebelling back then, so at that point, I really just didn't care. I know I should have just said yes to Danielle back if I was going to make all of these troubles in the first place. But I didn't know that back when Danielle asked. It was just small scuffles here and there, but it was enough trouble that sometimes I'd go home with a beaten up face. My mother and aunt were worried. They were asking if I was getting bullied at school, but of course I didn't tell them anything, and I made up a lot of excuses on how I got the bruises. I usually said it was through basketball games. They didn't believe me though. They were dead set on thinking that I was getting bullied, which for me was better since I really didn't have to tell them that I was one of the troublemakers. But that backfired since Mom and Dad talked, and they've decided that I would get sent back to my country. I was confused then. I mean, I really did miss it back home together with my friends and brother, but I was also currently enjoying my life in the US. In the end, I decided to keep my mouth shut and just let things happen. I was sent back home, and there I got into more trouble as I entered into my senior years. Thank you for listening to my story, guys. Did you ever have a similar experience where you were the only one different in your school? Share your stories in the comment section or send them here by email. Bye bye!